Good morning, everybody. Hi, it's Fitz, and boy, do we have stuff to talk about today. I'm going to give a few moments to let people join in, going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And yeah, I have a hot topic this morning that I'm very, very passionate about, and I'm going to do my very best not to get cranky. Because I prefer to bring you the happy, energetic Fits as opposed to the something's gone wrong and it's made me very mad Fits Kohler. But again, good morning to everyone joining me today. If I'm going live, like LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. If you would like to comment, please use the comment section wherever you are to offer feedback, ask questions, or just say hello. And if you're coming from Facebook, sometimes it hides your name and makes you look like an anonymous person. So if you have a comment to share, add your name at the end, please. And thank you. As well, if you haven't already done so, follow me at Fitzness on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So listen, there's been a couple of headlines this week that have kind of broken my brain a little bit, made me very cranky, and I think it needs to be addressed. It's something I've been addressing for decades as a fitness professional, and that's the use of children and treadmills, which is a terrible, terrible combination, just something that infuriates me because it's so very dangerous. And treadmills themselves are so very dangerous. Let's not be unclear about this at all. Treadmills are designed for adult use, period, end of story. And at that, even though I love the treadmill, it's my favorite cardio tool, treadmills are also dangerous for adults. You know, they're built for taller people. They're not built for little kids whose hands come up to the handrails and they can't even see the buttons. And boy, do the buttons look fun on a treadmill. And boy, does the treadmill look fun as well. The treadmill looks like a ride at Disney World. The treadmill is very enticing. But when you take a little body and then you take a little mind and you put it on a machine that can go up to 20 miles per hour, sometimes worse, and go on an incline, you are just asking for trouble. And again, I've spent decades in this field, and I've always been adamant about children staying the hell away from treadmills. In fact, I think the minimum age for treadmill use is 14. There are some people that disagree. I really would love to have the debate with that person because it's pure ignorance. Again, treadmills are built for little people or for big people. So what happens when you put a young person? Well, let's talk about the risks to an adult on a treadmill. And I think it's fair to start there. Just your average Joe, capable, grown up. We're going to say men. Men are maybe a stronger breed usually. So we're going to put a grown man on a treadmill. So he turns it on, he's going 4 miles per hour, 8 miles per hour. It doesn't really matter, but he's going. And maybe Bob, because that's his name, that man on the treadmill, you know, someone calls his name, he looks to the side. That instant of distraction can take Bob out, right? So Bob's feet change, there's a gate, there's a distraction, and boom, he hits the ground. Now he's not just hitting the ground, he's hitting the ground with a surface that's moving 4 to 10 to 20 miles per hour. What happens to Bob? Bob goes down. Bob flies back off the belt, hits things behind him, right? So the founder of, it's not LinkedIn. I wish I could pull up the name. Founder of one of our big tech companies about 5-6 years ago at a resort in the Caribbean, I believe, hit the ground, flew back, died because of his head trauma from the treadmill. So so you fall down and then you are flung as far as you can go. If you're lucky, there's a bunch of matting behind you, right? And maybe you just break your arm. Maybe you just shatter your hip. If you're unlucky and there's a wall behind you, you fling back and now you have head trauma, perhaps. You have a skull fracture. There's so many things that could go wrong by landing on a belt that's moving 2 miles, 4 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, and faster, that even adults have a real problem. So if you're an adult that gets distracted because someone calls your name, problem. You are an adult that's distracted because you're watching TV, which I do all the time. Distracted, you hit the ground and you fly. You are an adult who just looks down at the belt. And as you look down at the belt, your feet start moving towards the end of the belt. You fly off. Big time trouble. So there's so many things that could go wrong as an adult user of a treadmill. Now take a little body and an immature mind and put that child on the same machine. And it's a machine. I consider the treadmill the most dangerous piece of equipment in my home. More dangerous than the stove, more dangerous than the microwave, more dangerous than any sort of weapon that's stored in a safe. The treadmill is the number one most dangerous thing I own in my home. And so what we saw or what we see in the headlines right now is there was some sort of tragic child death from a Peloton treadmill. What the hell was a child doing on a Peloton treadmill? It's not, I don't think it's the treadmill. I could be wrong. I haven't investigated Peloton treadmills specifically, but if they, like every other treadmill on the planet, was not designed for child use, why was there a child on a treadmill? It shouldn't have happened. And I don't, I'm not here to litigate this case, but children should not be on treadmills. They are not designed for treadmills. And I'm pretty confident if you look in the little handbook on any treadmill manufacturer, they're saying this is not for children. So that becomes a parental issue. And so the reason I reach out today is not because I want to trash those parents who let a child near a treadmill, is that I want you to understand that's important that you never, ever, ever let a child on a treadmill. They fall down, they trip, they get flung into things, they touch the belt. Even touching the belt can come with catastrophic injuries. There's been so many children get their skin ripped off just by touching the belt, right? So now they've lost the skin on the hand, or they've had their fingers ripped off from touching the belt on a treadmill. I mean, the last studies I've seen, and I look because this is a topic I'm passionate about. In 2015, they published a study, 24,500 injuries in America due to treadmill use. Now, fortunately, the death toll is much less. It's like 30, which is still no good. But the greatest percentage of injuries on a treadmill are for children between 1 and 6. What the hell are children between 1 and 6 doing on or near a treadmill? Completely unacceptable. And so I have 2 children. And as they were born, they came into a house with a treadmill and a stepper and dumbbells and things like that. And mommy's a fitness trainer. So those children were in the gym with me. They never once laid a finger on my treadmill for their first 14 years alive. And I assure you that even as babies, so I never spanked my children. My choice, I chose not to, but they were never unsure about who was in charge in this home. And my mouth has been used as a weapon, not with curse words, not with put downs, but with sharp, blunt sounds, so they would come near the treadmill and I'd go, no, in a terrifying way. I would just give this big, bold, scary no, and they wouldn't go near it. And all of a sudden they recoiled when they came by the treadmill because they knew mommy was going to make that sound and they were going to get in trouble or they were going to be reprimanded. And so never one finger on the treadmill as little kids because it is that dangerous. I would much rather my kids put their hand on the burner of my stove than have them put their hands or their body or their feet on a treadmill. It is that dangerous. It is that important that that children do not belong anywhere near a treadmill. Don't let them touch it. Don't let them play. It's not cute. It's not fun. It's dangerous. If you want your child to run or walk, take them outside. This is where children belong, right? They belong on the sidewalk, in your yard, in a field, in a park, on a track. That's a great place for children to catch air running. There's so much opportunity out there, but a treadmill is dangerous. So poor Peloton is now paying some sort of PR crisis price because there was a child who came near and apparently touched. I don't know any of the circumstances. All I know is that if there were responsible adults in the room, that child would have never had any engagement with the treadmill. It's not cute. Again, I don't care if your kid is 100 pounds overweight. You do not put them on a treadmill. You give them any other option. I think Well, I just don't think cardiovascular exercise machines are appropriate for children in most cases, unless they're extremely certified. Never the treadmill, possibly a stationary bike, but you really have to be astute when you allow them to use it. So we've got the Peloton lawsuit, and I encourage you, or it's not even a lawsuit, just a Peloton death. So look it up, research, and then question yourself, why did these adults let this child on or near a machine that has the capacity to go up to 20 miles per hour or worse? And now here's the other story that's in the news that's breaking my brain, is that there's a 12-year-old in Nebraska, and this is a girl who loves running, and good for her. I think it's awesome. And she would like to maybe go to the Olympics one day. Great. And there's video of her on a treadmill running 17 and I think now 19 miles per hour on a treadmill. She's 12 years old. Not okay. Not even a little bit okay. Yes, this girl is talented. Yes, she seems like a nice kid. Shame on the adults putting her on this thing, because she is also capable of misstepping. And what happens when this 12-year-old running at 17 miles per hour flings off the back of the treadmill? You know, not cute outcomes. I don't admire the trainer, and I feel sad that the parents don't know any better. And I'm hoping perhaps they'll tune into the Fitness Show and understand how much harm their daughter is being put in harm's way because of that decision by the trainer. So the real threat here is that now other kids watching this video are going to see how fast they can go. And there's going to be a ton of TikTokers out there getting on mommy and daddy's treadmill. And then the injury rates are going to skyrocket. I mean, this can't be good. This can't be good at all. So here's Andrew. And Andrew says, I was found treadmill hurts my knees. Outside is better. You know what? I understand that if that's the way you feel, Andrew, great. Treadmill is actually a great option for people with joint issues, because many are built with a little bit of give, so you don't have the same type of impact that you're facing when you run on pavement or even in the dirt. But yeah, many treadmills are actually designed to give. So again, I love the treadmill for grownups. You know, and grownups use a treadmill, and it inherently comes with some risks, and that's fine. That's just the way we operate in the world. There's always some risks with things we do. We get in our car, there's risk. We lift up a dumbbell, there's risk. We get in an elevator, there's risk, right? I mean, elevators are known to break down. We've seen horrible movies where elevators fall through the building. I don't know if that really happens. I don't think it does. But anyways, there's risks involved in life in general. But this is my concern. So if you don't love the treadmill and it doesn't work for you, stay off the treadmill. I completely respect that. For many of us, it's a great outlet. You know, I have always loved the fact that as a parent, I could put my kids in the house, let them sleep or play a game, and I could be on the treadmill and I'd know everybody was safe. It is never, ever safe for a child, ever. So what I recommend for you all is, if you own a treadmill, if you have been allowing children to get near your treadmill, it's time to change the rules. And what I say about that is, when you know better, you're obligated to do better. And so now that you understand what a tremendous risk a treadmill is, not only to the skin in their hands, but their bones, their skulls, their brains, their life, that you change the rules and you say, gee whiz, you know what? I had no idea this machine in our home was so dangerous to you. So little Johnny and little Susie and little Jose, no more using the treadmill. When you're 14, we can readdress this issue. But until then, you're not to come anywhere near the treadmill. You are not to put your hand on the guardrail as on the handlebars while I'm using it. You just stay off of it, nowhere near the treadmill. Treat it like an oven that's hot. You cannot touch it, period, end of story. And then, of course, keep your kids, let them know what a hazard it is, because I do see thousands of kids now following this Nebraska girl's pursuit of Lord knows what, but they will be trying to crank up treadmills, go as fast as humanly possible, and see if they can do what she's doing. And the dangers. It's just such a bad idea. So I choose to be a happy girl normally when I'm delivering these live streams, but this is a hot topic that really gets me cranky. It's my soapbox. Again, children and treadmills do not match. The other thing that I could go on forever about is a reminder that children's bodies are not just miniature versions of adult bodies, right? They're in the process of growing, which takes a lot of energy, right? So there are certain demands on their bodies that adults don't have. They have looser ligaments, and they're at risk for growth plate injuries and damage. And once your growth plate is damaged, it's very hard to recover from. And if you have a growth plate injury, say in your left knee, there's a good chance your left leg will remain shorter than your right leg. So it's important that we respect those little bodies. And I also am not a fan of kids doing great distances. Okay, I think a marathon is an adult activity. And even a half marathon is an adult activity. So be respectful and keep their distances short. I don't even know any cross-country meets for high school that go over a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. I think that's enough. And we can allow our kids to go out and compete. We can allow them to be athletic and fit and strong. And yes, running is a very good thing, but to what extent? You know, if you allow your 13-year-old to do 10K max and your 16-year-old 10K max, they will still have the opportunity to get outside, run a great distance, train their body, train for performance, achieve goals, earn medals, do all sorts of wonderful things without the inherent risks of going too far and doing too much. And again, I think the shorter distances are a much wiser choice for those little bodies. Little kids are not little adults. You know, and there's a bunch of little kids out there doing ultras and marathons, and it makes me shudder every time. And of course, I support the child because the kids aren't supposed to know better, right? And we're supposed to have adults leading the way and protecting them from harm. And this is my effort. So no children on treadmills when they're 14 and their bodies are getting close to adult size and their maturity levels are getting closer to adult maturity levels, then you could talk about safe usage of a treadmill. But anything before then is just foolish and dangerous. And I say no. You got that? Does anyone have any comments? Please feel free to use the comment section. All avenues, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, you all have the opportunity to take part in this conversation. It's something I'm probably going to address repeatedly moving forward because I think it's really, really important. And then as an adult, you know, when you get on the treadmill, you got to pay attention. It's fine to have the TV on in the background, and I certainly use entertainment tools to keep me going, but I keep my hands on the handlebars, you know, or when I run, I keep one hand on. I use the little emergency clip. So there's usually a magnet attached to the treadmill with a strap and a little clip. You put it on your shirt. And so if you pull back at all, that string detaches and the treadmill belt stops. And that's certainly a way to prevent a certain extent of injuries. Remember, anyone hits that treadmill belt, boom, they go for a ride, and it's not going to be a fun one when they land. You know, the ride itself could cause harm, but, you know, I think about it in my gym, right behind me is my, right behind me at a angle is my weight rack. And there's all sorts of steel, pointy, hard parts that I don't want to hit. And, you know, one would think maybe you just go straight back. Probably not. Probably not. There's usually a BOSU on the floor somewhere behind the treadmill. There's often a trampoline. There's often dumbbells. I do not want to take a ride off of my treadmill. So yeah, let's be respectful of the treadmill and all of the wonderful things it can provide, and then of the inherent dangers of something that moves so fast and requires great focus, balance, and maturity, and an adult-sized body to use. So what else? I have on Monday, I'm super excited. I have my live interview with the head ball coach, legendary football player and coach, Steve Spurrier. He won a Heisman here at the University of Florida, went on to lead the University of Florida to many SEC championships and a national championship. with our Heisman winning quarterback, Danny Werfel. And then he went to the NFL and then South Carolina Gamecocks. And he's had a huge career in football. So we're going to be live at his new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And lots of other fun interviews and conversations coming up. So please do me a favor, pass along the word. No kids on treadmills. Read these stories. I think they'll be easy to find, and they may convince you that a treadmill is no place for a child. So that's it for today. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Get out, go play. Get out in the sunshine, get out in the snow, get out in the rain. I don't care. Just get outside, move your body, and have some laughs. Get to work, team. Love you all. Bye.